Welcome, everyone. My name is Diane Skiba, and I have the privilege today of interviewing Michelle Honey, who is one of our honorary members, and this is part of a project called Nursing Informatics Development, Implementation, and Evaluation over the 5 decades. So welcome, Michelle. It's nice to see you.
Hi.
Let me start with the first question, and that is, how did you get involved in informatics? What path led you to join or become part of the informatics community?
Well, that's going back some. I first got involved in nursing informatics in the late 1980s when I was working at Manukau Institute of Technology. It's a tertiary education provider, more of a community college, I guess you call it. And I was working with Jan Hausman, and she started teaching some nursing informatics courses. And in fact, she got into that because we had a lead nurse in the country who seconded Jan Hausman to develop a curriculum for nursing informatics. And she did that job for a year. And then she came back to work and wanted to start offering courses. And so working alongside Jan, I started learning more and thinking about it all. Initially, we started with things like how to mark multi-choice questions. You know, marking them by hand is a real pain when you've got a large class. And we got some funding and got a card reader. And it's like, yes, technology works for us. What else could we do with this stuff? So that was an exciting start. And then I guess, you know, your personal and your professional lives run along. My husband purchased a home PC, a home computer, at a time when they were really expensive and hardly anyone had one. It was really quite a novelty. And he was doing things and I was watching. And I'm thinking, well, I could do that. So I would put in the numbers and I learned about the backspace key and the enter key. And from small beginnings, you start doing more and more and thinking, hey, this is kind of handy. What else can I do? And then in 1991, New Zealand had its first nursing informatics conference. And we sort of dovetailed on the Australian international conference. So they hosted the big nursing informatics conference. And we managed to time ours for almost straight after. And so we managed to get some of their key speakers over to New Zealand because we had so little money. A flight from Australia was achievable. And we had our first conference after that event. So we had, well, they had the 1991 International Conference. We had our first conference. And then after that event, they had a follow-up meeting, you know, a couple of weeks later for people who were interested. And so I went along to that and we started Nursing Informatics New Zealand. So I've been involved in nursing informatics since it started.
That's wonderful. So has your experiences been primarily in academia or have you done other projects?
I guess mostly in education. So at Manukau Tech, and then I did work for Plunket for 4 years. So Plunket is the Royal New Zealand Plunket Society, is a well child provider. And I got seconded, mostly because I was scared to jump. And I was seconded for 1 year and then I actually resigned and took on the role fully. First to collect Plunket's data dictionary as the beginning of some digital health initiatives they were bringing in. And then to do a trial using fax and scanning technology, which wasn't very successful. And then to support the development and implementation of a national well child database. And we got that around the country. And then they had a change of management and things. They've now actually got a well child electronic health record, and they've got now that battery life is so much better and connectivity, they've got, data collection in the field at the point of care, in people's homes and wherever they're seeing mums and babes. So it's been amazing. So it was a great opportunity and a really good learning. And I guess the thing I learned most from that is that nurses don't necessarily think they like the technology. People would say, well, I didn't come Plunkett nursing to use technology. I came to look after the mothers and the babies. But if they can see a reason why, and that is actually going to help, then they can do anything. If a clinical imperative is there, the nurses can do it.
You are so right.
And then back in education, I've been interested also in the use of educational technology and how it can improve my practice as an educator.
Wonderful. So who's inspired you? Is there people that really have helped you and facilitated your career?
Well, I guess I come back to the beginning and Jan Hausman, who I mentioned. Mm-hmm. So learned a lot from Jan Hausman. And then Jan was one of the small group of nurses who organized that first conference. And the other nurse there was Robin Carr. So Jan Hausman ended up taking more of a quality and safety kind of role and moved aside from nursing informatics. But Robin Carr stayed in informatics, and she got New Zealand involved with the international community, and then really has supported and encouraged my involvement, but I know also others, to stay connected, to grow nursing informatics in New Zealand. So she's been very instrumental.
And one of our honorary members.
Yes. Yep. She was also the chair of IMIA-Medinfo. So, she worked her way. She didn't just talk about what we should be doing. She role modeled for me, that involvement and that passion.
That's great. Have you inspired or mentored anyone in your career?
Probably, but I mean, it's probably for them to say rather than me. Yeah, it's a difficult question, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And you've influenced your students, and you probably have students that have gotten in the area, but it's sort of like, okay, we'll ask them someday.
Yeah, hopefully they'll become honorary members and somebody will be interviewing them in the future. And wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be great. What did you find the most rewarding aspect of your career in informatics?
I think when I think back to like Plunkett, the World Child Provider, where I supported their digital health development, it was realizing that nurses can use technology to support their patients to improve health outcomes. Because there's a lot of literature out there that seems to do research, nurses compared to other health professionals, and we don't always look so good. And I don't know why people might do that research, because it's not about whether nurses are good, it's how we can be better. And, anyway, nurses can. And so that was really rewarding, and to be part of Plunkett's journey towards where they are now. And more personally, the most rewarding aspects have been the connections and opportunities it's given me over the years. As I've become more involved in New Zealand and then internationally, I've made friends like yourself, Diane. I mean, I am talking to Diane Skeeper. Wow. And I've got people I can collaborate with. I've joined a community of practice. In New Zealand, the nursing informatics community is fairly small. I mean, we're a whole small country, so yeah. But internationally, wow, all these people who are interested in the same topic I am. How lucky is that? Yeah, and it's been exciting to meet the people whose work you've read. I think meet them in person. Wow. Yeah.
What were any challenges that you faced as you sort of moved through your career in informatics? Or got into your career?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think people not knowing what nursing informatics is.
Mm.
And I think this is actually still a bit of a problem. But in New Zealand, we're now using terms like digital health. And people seem to, I mean, time has moved on, but people seem to understand that kind of terminology more. And I'm not sure if the term nursing informatics might have been a bit of a barrier, because you're constantly having to explain, well, what does that mean? And I guess COVID actually has been very good for bringing what nurses and the use of technology can add to the fore. So, and particularly telehealth. So, you know, you have the challenges of providing care at a distance to all our population, but then we also have those opportunities. So it's a bit of both, isn't it?
It is.
I think
And I
people,
think you're right. I think, that's the silver lining of COVID,
yeah,
was to bring
absolutely.
out.
And we just have to build on that impetus we've now got. Yeah, it's a real opportunity for us. Yep. Some people not understanding what nursing informatics is means that as a community in New Zealand, we can be a bit small. And I'm sure there are nurses out there now who might be listening to this, who might be feeling isolated in their area of interest. So I would just really encourage nurses to join together locally, wherever you are, find people with a similar interest, nationally, and then join the international nursing informatics community. And that will give you the support you need to sustain your interest, your practice, to get involved in research, and this will all help the profession and the discipline of nursing informatics.
That's great. That is definitely good advice. Do you have other advice that you'd like to share with the next generation of informatics nurses?
No, mostly it's that stay connected with each other and like-minded nurses. I guess when you look back, the one thing I would tell you is that expect change. No matter what, there will always be change. It's one of those definites in life, along with death and taxes. And you can expect change throughout your professional life. So you need to develop the skills and resilience to cope with ongoing change, because that is the way it is.
You said it. A great summary statement. Thank you so much, Michelle. You were very insightful, and it's a pleasure to have interviewed you for this project.
Nice to talk to you, Diane. Bye for now.